Right, I don't think anybody is there, but you guys may well. I think there's been a little bit confusion about the schedule here, so I'm just going to run you into the market open here. We can see that there's weakness here, not a good area to try and go short. As you can see, this is a bounce point really. Just down here, little bounce point down there. Yeah, and it looks all right as a bounce as well, even if we kind of lower this down a little bit. We kind of see just a tiny bit of resistance turn into support, which took us to the upside, and the same's happening. The same happened at this particular point. Same could happen again down here. So I'm not that keen on jumping short, even though my overall kind of view on this is that we probably will continue to see weakness. I'm a little bit perturbed. I wasn't able to get this, but in truth, um, there wasn't a great deal I could have done. I was traveling through a lot of this, and the phone was the charts were on the phone, but there wasn't any way that I could get any real details, no pivots and bits and pieces like that on the phone. So I'm just looking to see whether there's a likelihood of a bounce here, and it doesn't look like it. It looks like we're probably much more likely to crash through this area and continue to the downside, but that is just not my favored areas to try and get in. What I prefer to probably do here is look for the daily pivot, which is going to be, let me see. It's going to be around. Oh, why has that not worked? It is going to be around. This point here, so 53. So we're looking at a 50 pip move to the upside. Obviously, trying to trade down here wouldn't be the worst strategy in the world, but I don't really see many of the indicators giving me a high probability. So I'm not going to trade that back into this area. I do that would be my the area that I want to go short in, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. And as I say, the indicators are currently not in line. And what that suggests to me is one of two things. Firstly, that we bounce down here a few times, and then the indicators catch up and we start to go, or this just continues to move to the downside. So either way, the timing would be off at this current time. So we're not going to trade that at this particular phase. Now I'm going to have a look through to see if there are any daily wave riders as well, and I'll bring them to you as we go. The euro is one that satisfies the filter. The euro is one that satisfies the filter, but let's talk about why this wouldn't be. I wouldn't be so keen on this. I just want to bring this onto a clean daily chart here. It's just getting a little bit low down here. Looks like the run really has taken off to the downside. So could be some support in this area. So wouldn't be too keen on trying to get into a trade at that particular point. Hasn't been a great chart to trade and look for options. Pound is the same, and the trade on the pound was this particular candle here. That would have been a decent trade on the pound. I'm just going to check something. Mm. Right, excuse me 1 minute. Just want to see something about this pound trade. 13th. Yeah, I can see why. This could have worked out very, very nicely. Bouncing off some of the moving averages, bouncing off the weekly pivot as well for our setup bar. What else? When we're looking at the 13th. Not the easiest trade to take by any stretch. If you were trying to trade this intraday. But you might have got a slightly better price trading it intraday. So 13.01 instead of, I suppose, that one there. Now this one there, you guys will be able to qualify that would not have been a setup. When we move into the Monday, then we do get the setup, and the really good price here would have been somewhere around here. So a little tricky, but that could have been a trade there. What else? Aussie dollar as well. Let's see how that works. The Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar. Really tricky one to try and grab. This was the if you like the master candle, but I'm not sure how keen I would have been on that. That was right at the end of April. Which I'm just checking now. Yeah. Yeah, there was a signal on that one a lot earlier. But I don't think. Actually, there was a fairly nice signal on that one. Yeah, there's a pretty good signal on that one. The very next day, and again, I'm just referring to intraday trades here. As the price came all the way back up again, it attempted to do it a couple of times. Then we saw a gap to the downside, but getting a little bit long as well in the tooth. You know, looking at these weekly charts, not a great hammer because it's kind of on its own, but it's probably a little bit lower to go with the Aussie, but not the best possible trade. So let's not worry about that one. Dollar Swiss is putting in what looks like a hint rather than an absolute setup here. Little uptrend on the 4 hour on the dollar Swiss would be problematic, but you can just see that dollar Swiss has been starting to kind of ease its way to the downside. And let's just check this particular area as well. Yeah, maybe the fact that it's kind of just caught on the upside of that particular trend line wouldn't be the safest place to trade it. And I do see there's just some extending and retracing. So that 4 hours starting to look like an uptrend, and the dailies are a little bit out of sync with that. So let's not worry about that. Certainly, the euro yen is providing, unfortunately, on a pretty late bar. Providing a potential area to try and trade, which is here. Yeah, yeah, that's not a great trade. Euro pound, you'd have to have this one on a watch list just to watch if it would start to fade, because it's come a long way. That's come a long way without argument, pretty much. So now we're in this area here. You would suspect that a little bit of down drifting would be the most likely probability here, but no setups to the downside. So I wouldn't be that keen on looking at that. EuroCAD's giving a setup on the indicators, but it's very scrappy. I don't really know, where we are with this. I suppose that would suggest that there could be some downside in play. Hasn't bounced away from anything, which is the big problem. It's kind of in the middle of the nowhere, so wouldn't be interested in that. Euro Aussie's a bit lofty. Now I'm going to check Euro Aussie for where the setup actually came. (29th). I could make a pretty good case for a lot of these, just on the setups. Quite like a lot of these. And they started to kick in. Yeah, it was the end of April. Now, if there are any questions, just let me know. I'm literally just analysing these charts and just seeing whether there was any hints or tips. I do see that there was. That's a bit of a clue. So setups on that was pretty good. Pound Swiss would have been a difficult grab, but that looks pretty much done. Pound yen would have been a difficult grab as well. Talked about this Aussie CAD a lot during the most recent IFP. With this candle here being the potential for a trade, but this candle here would have been a real screaming That candle there would have been a screaming signal on the 29th. Again, the 29th of April. So I'm going to double check that. Yeah. I see an opportunity on this one. Fairly decent setup on that. Yeah, see some opportunities here that just in past history, it's so much easier when they unfold in one direction to see opportunities. Now, the Aussie Kiwi is one that is setting up for some upside. Not too sure about the cyclicity. Let's just double check the rest of the information with Aussie Kiwi, and it does seem to have. Yeah, it's pretty good actually. It's pretty good. Decent bullish engulfing bar here. So cycles aren't great on this chart, but they're not too bad when you kind of bring them down to the 4-hour. Not the best higher high, but it looks like a break of a trend line along here, which would have put this bar in play. So I like Aussie Kiwi, and let's just have a quick look at what that would have meant for setups as well. Yeah, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Setups look good. I don't like the cycles on that one, so it's not the cleanest chart. So let's say for cases of certainty, we probably wouldn't trade that. FTSE's on its move to the downside, and with it being on its move to the downside, it is sending the yen higher. We'll have a look at the FTSE in a moment. And in the meantime, I'll continue to have a look at some of these other charts. So I'm just currently looking at some wave riders and seeing if I can find anything that would be palatable for you guys to trade, having gone through the course. Now this one would be a down trend. Obviously the cycles are really good. Looks like a decent point to take. This looks like a nice train tracks reversal. The problem with the CAD Swiss is the super trend is in the opposite direction now. Let me just make sure that this is set right. Okay, let's have a look. want to check the set up on this. Let's do 120. No, that doesn't really help it actually, so let's put that back. I'm pretty sure that was 4. Maybe not. Right, might need a bit of assistance on that. So far, the best thing out there is the Aussie Kiwi that I can see. You guys got anything else? Let me know. CAD saying is in an uptrend, but really the opportunity on that looks like it may have been a few days ago, and it doesn't look that clean. I think the most obvious point, maybe the 15th. Yeah, the 15th actually looks pretty good. 16th may have provided an opportunity as well. Swissy Sing I wouldn't be interested in either. Beautiful trend on the Euro Kiwi, but again, I think quite a late entry bar. No, this one's pretty good. That one's pretty good. Pretty good cycle there and moving there. So that would have been on the 26th of April. Probably would have traded it on the 30th on a personal level. I would have. Well, you'd need to see this bar anyway. Question is, would we have got a better price than 1679? Yeah, it wouldn't have actually been a better price anyway. So, but that one's rolling along quite nicely. Let's see a change there. Pound is now starting to ease back to the downside against the Aussie. So it looks like the Aussie's just starting to put in some indication that that there might be signs of life. Nothing great here. There's only a few signals that that could have been taken, but Kiwi CAD also provided an opportunity here. I'm just double checking that date again. That's the end of. See, it's a really good time to look for trades now. Probably looking into next week. Oh, that might have been a difficult grab actually on the 30th. Maybe coming back on the 6th might have been okay. Kiwi Swissy as well. Looks to me like this bar was the one, but some of the indicators took a while to catch up. But you know, this pretty good cycles. That'd have been a nice place to get in there. Actually, looks to me like the third. Yeah, this looks all right. Doesn't look so hot on this particular chart, but certainly on the 4 hour, I like the look of that. Kiwi yen still weakened, so we do have some yen strength across the board, and it is proving to be problematic for some of these. It's a bit late. The big problem with all these is that they are very, very long in their journey. Gold providing some problems as well. WTI continues to move to the downside. With no bounce point. Nice trade that though. I think Paul took that. And then there's Bitcoin, which is just full of gaps. I don't know how anybody can have too much confidence with Bitcoin. It's just gapping all over the place, and these gaps will have to be filled. That one pretty close enough to suggest that it was filled, depending on which broker you're looking at. This one needs to come back a little bit, but you know, it appears that there's some juice in Bitcoin. But when I look and consider Bitcoin, I look at some of these longer term charts. We need to see what that looks like by the end of the week. This bar is problematic. This bar is problematic. You know, shaping up to have lots of shooting stars up here, where there's just a complete gap and lack of liquidity and orders, which is why it's just flying ahead. You know, no sellers in any of these areas here. So what are they waiting for? Which price are they waiting for? Could be near the 9,000. Could be near 10,000. Before people actually start getting into this. Let's check the monthlies. Yeah, maybe 9.5 would be an area that I think we see a higher percentage of volatility, and maybe Bitcoin coming back down again. So let's check the FTSE. With all this being said, the big problem that the FTSE is really shaping for is timing. It certainly appears that the FTSE is going to struggle all day today. And there's nothing to suggest at this stage that we've got a bounce point. And when I look at this, then that point there is the area that is the current sell zone. Looks a little bit of an expensive area to try and sell it off, to my mind, and I'm not that keen on doing that. So I don't think you'll find me in the FTSE today. But there's a whole heap of weakness out there. And probably rightly so. Things don't seem to be changing, do they, on the trade war issue? And China now ramping it up, and we got European economies starting to shrink. And also not only shrinking, but effectively fighting back. So that's all I got. If you guys have any trading ideas, then do let me know. I don't have too much else to offer at this stage. So I'm probably going to shut down here. Look at this FTSE, see if there's a bounce point. The long is, just because of the price, more attractive, but certainly the indicators don't suggest it. So let's see if we can get the market to just push up a bit higher, just so that the short becomes more attractive. But aside from that, I am sitting on the sidelines. So I'm going to shut down unless there's any questions. Don't see any. I will be back tomorrow with Jeff potentially. We are trying to sort out some issues, so if we're not here, then we'll be back next week. Happy trading, guys.